What is one African philosophy that a child from a part of Africa living in a part of Africa should embrace dearly? Here's one I love. It is called Omoluabi, a philosophy upheld by the Yoruba ethnic group in Nigeria, West Africa, that celebrates the individual with an excellent, well-rounded character. In Yoruba philosophy, it is believed that every virtuous society is made up of individuals with excellent, well-rounded characters. They are called Omoluabis. Before there were modern constitutions, there was the principle and African code of Omoluabi. In this next episode of Modern Tales with Yaa Koko, African children will learn about some of the past members of African societies who upheld and expressed the principle of excellent, well-rounded characters like Omoluabi. Welcome to the world of African ideas. In this world of African ideas, you will get to discover great people, great places, great foods, great animals in the ecosystem, great objects, and best of all, great ideas to come out of Africa or that are connected with Africa. My name is Yaa Koko, and I always love to spend time with you. I am so excited that I have a new set of guests today. I have Dayo, I have Chiso, and I have a regular guest, Chimamanda. Thank you so much for visiting me. I always enjoy your visits, and I have a great plan for your visit today. I will share exciting things with you, but I always start your visit with a game, and it's my favorite game. You don't know it, Dayo and Chiso, but I'll teach it to you. In my favorite game, I ask children about the name of a place, a person, an animal, a food, or an object found in Africa that starts with a particular alphabet. Today, my question for you in this game is, tell me the name of a place in Africa that starts with the letter I. Tricky, right? Okay.
Ibadan.
Yes! Great! Ibadan is actually one of my favorite places in Africa. Do you want to know why? Who can guess?
Because you live in
Yes, because I live in Ibadan. So let me tell you about Ibadan. Ibadan is an ancient city in Nigeria, a country in West Africa. Ibadan is very huge. In fact, its land mass is bigger than many cities across Africa. Ibadan is also very populous, which means there are many people living in this big spot on the world. Ibadan is ancient. It is said to have been built on 7 hills. It dates back to many centuries ago where there were great warriors who fought many wars. Ibadan is also very cosmopolitan. In other words, it's modern. It has modern roads, houses, architecture, culture, music, and foods. It's a blend of the old traditions and modern contemporary traditions. Ibadan has a rustic look to it because if you look at it from the top, it has a lot of brown roofs. That's why it's still called an ancient city. But amongst its people, they are very cosmopolitan. They love to have parties, and majority of the people in Ibadan come from the Yoruba ethnic group. But there's also different people from different ethnicities who live in Ibadan town. Ibadan is also renowned as one of Africa's great cities of learning and new ideas. It is home to Nigeria's first university, the University of Ibadan, one of the country's leading teaching hospitals, many important research centers, and even Nigeria's first multi-story glass building. For many years, people have come to Ibadan to study, discover new things, solve problems, and share knowledge with others. Do you like Ibadan?
Yes.
What do you like about Ibadan?
That you get to live in some modern areas.
Exactly. There's some modern areas, but you can also see some of the ancient areas also, which have been preserved and which allow us to have a touch of culture and tradition, even in a modern world. Thank you for playing that game with me. I enjoyed sharing about my beautiful ancient city of Ibadan.
Thank you for playing my favorite African game with me. Now let's find the next items in the game. What is an African belief or practice that starts with the letter I? Ifa. Ifa is a traditional Yoruba system of wisdom, knowledge, and religion that began many hundreds of years ago in West Africa. It is an important part of the spiritual beliefs of many Yoruba people and teaches lessons about good character, honesty, responsibility, and living in harmony with others. Ifa is known for its rich collection of stories, poems, proverbs, and teachings that have been passed down from generation to generation. Today, Ifa is both a living religion and one of Africa's most important knowledge traditions. It is practiced and studied in Nigeria and many other parts of the world where Yoruba culture has spread. Did you know that for many centuries, Ifa teachings were carefully memorized and shared through storytelling and oral tradition, even before books and computers became common?
Now, we'll move to another very remarkable part of your visit, where I tell you a great story. For the children who visited me in the past, I told them stories about ancient kings and queens and civilizations and cultures that existed across the African continent. This time around, I'm going to be sharing with you stories about some of the greatest children who ever lived in Africa and who have performed heroic deeds in Africa. Children and young people just like you. Today's story is about a special young boy whose name is William Kwakwamba. William Kwakwamba. William Kwakwamba was a young boy who grew up in a village in northern Malawi. Do you know Malawi? Have you ever heard of the country Malawi?
Yes.
Malawi is a country in the southern part of the African continent. Malawi is known for agriculture. And when William Kwakwamba was growing up in his village, about 80% of the entire population of Malawi was farmers. They used to farm. And they were farming in crops like maize, tobacco, and a range of crops. In William's village, everyone was a maize farmer. Everyone. But the village was pretty poor. They lived off the land and they relied on rain to fall and make their crops grow. So if rain didn't fall, the kind of agriculture they practiced would really suffer. But there was a period in his village where Malawi experienced a great drought. Do you know what a drought is?
Yes.
What's a drought?
A drought is when there's no water for a long period of time, everywhere is dry.
Exactly. When the rain does not fall for a long period of time, society or communities are said to be experiencing drought. No rainfall. Imagine a village of farmers who relied on rainfall to make their crops grow. That would destroy their livelihoods. And so that period in Malawi, there was massive famine and starvation. People were literally dying because there was no rain to fall on the crops that they planted. The ground began to dry up. Crops were not growing. Farmers could harvest nothing. They couldn't sell any produce. Children had to drop out of school. Children were going hungry. Families were going hungry. In William's own house, his family, his parents had 7 children. 6 of them were girls. He was the only boy. So imagine a family of 7 children where there's no crops to harvest, no food to sell in the market, no money to buy things, no money to pay for the upkeep of their children and the parents. William had to drop out of school. He dropped out of school to try to help his family by any means necessary. And William loved education. He loved learning. But he couldn't go to school on a hungry stomach. He also couldn't go to school because his family could not afford to pay the school fees anymore. They couldn't buy uniforms. And so he was stuck in the village, trying to do whatever necessary to help his family. But William never stopped visiting the library. Whenever he had any spare time, he would go to the nearest library, which was several kilometers away. He would walk. Mind you, William didn't speak very good English, but still, he loved science books because they had a lot of diagrams, and he just loved science. He liked to, build things, and he found that a lot of the books of physics, the subject called physics, a lot of the physics textbooks in the library had many diagrams. Even if he couldn't read what was written, he could understand the pictures, and so he could follow what was being said. Now, in periods where there are droughts, there's often strong winds. So in his farm and in his community, even though rain was not falling, very often, heavy winds would blow across his community. You would hear the roofs of the huts and the houses they lived in shaking. The wind would blow and all their clothes would fly away. So William was very curious. There's no rain to grow the crops, but there's strong winds. How can I use these strong winds, William thought, to pump water or create electricity? That was William's greatest question. So every time he visited the library and was looking through those textbooks, he was often checking which book can teach him how to use strong winds to pump water, which is something his community and his village and his family needed, right? Yes. Or to generate electricity. So he always checked those books. And one time, he saw something unique. A windmill. A windmill. Have you ever heard of a windmill?
Yes.
Windmills are a type of structure that helps to capture the winds, right? And generate electricity from strong winds. And so William started seeing pictures of these strong winds and how they would cause the windmills to move very fast. And from there, it would generate electricity. And there laid his answer. This is how I can use those strong winds blowing across my village to generate electricity and to pump water. But then, the pictures in the books were very sophisticated. Where would he find the materials? William started visiting scrapyards, places where people throw things, right? And he started to gather junk. He gathered different materials. Old blades from tractors that had been condemned, old wheels from bicycles that had been thrown away, old pipes that were no longer being used, PVC materials, and all kinds of junk. William gathered it. And William began to construct a windmill from scratch. Everybody laughed at him and called him crazy, including his mother. Yes, because imagine this tiny boy trying to construct using bamboo and this big structure. He said he wants to generate electricity and pump water. It was insane. But William did not give up. He didn't stop. He continued to use the diagrams in the book to structure and put together and assemble all those materials he had gathered. And before you knew it, he had built a windmill. It was crude, it was basic, it wasn't nice and fancy. But he used the blades from the tractor that was condemned. He used the wheel from the bicycle. He used the PVC and the pipes that he had gathered. He also bought circuit breakers and some of these things that could generate the electricity from the wind and transfer it through wires. And he connected it to a socket. And one day, he wasn't around, but a strong wind started blowing. And guess what? It began to turn the blades of his windmill. It began to turn the blades and the wheels of his windmill. And it began to spin. And before you knew it, a bulb that he had connected it to started to flicker. And his windmill generated electricity in his home. It was what? Not a miracle. Science. It was like magic. Even William was shocked. His windmill began to generate electricity. He then connected it to another socket and it powered the radio. His mother screamed. They could hear the sounds of a favorite famous Malawi reggae song playing from the radio, just from the wire connected to William's windmill. Soon, neighbors began to come to charge their phones. And before you knew it, news began to spread of this young boy who had built a windmill that could generate electricity. And the news spread all the way from his village in the north of Malawi to the city. And soon, newsmen and radio men and pressmen started to visit the village to see this wonder that this young boy had made. William was only 14 years old. He built a windmill that started to power bulbs in his home and other families and compounds in his village, that began to charge phones and power radios. And before you knew it, William had generated electricity for his entire village in northern Malawi. It was a wonderful moment in Africa's history, a wonderful moment in a community that was experiencing drought, because very soon William added a second blade, and with that blade he began to put pumps that could drill down into the earth and find water. And soon, through his windmill, a small irrigation farm had emerged, and water started to flow through that irrigation system into farms, and soon the crops began to grow again. And that was how William Kwakwamba used the wind to generate electricity in his village and pump water, something that saved his entire village from famine and starvation. Let's put our hands together for William. Did you enjoy that story?
Yes, Yaa Koko.
Are there any lessons you learned from that story? Let's start with you, Dayo.
I learned that no matter how small we are, we can always succeed.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how young you are. If you can see a problem, you can look around you and take advantage of what's available to solve that problem. Just like the young boy did, only at the age of only 14. Chisom, did you want to say something too? Yes. We shouldn't mock people because they laughed at him. They had doubt, they didn't believe him. Even his mother didn't believe him. But even when you don't believe people, don't mock them. Leave them to do what they're doing. It may work out, it may not work out, but from it, all of us will learn lessons about what works and what doesn't. Yes, Chimamanda?
Curiosity and greatness can save millions of lives.
Absolutely. Just being curious about the world. He visited the library, he visited with curiosity, he wanted to answer a question on his mind. How can I use these strong winds to generate electricity and pump water? And that saved millions of people in his village.
Next, what is an animal found in Africa that begins with the letter I? Impala. The impala is one of Africa's most graceful animals. Found in the grasslands and woodlands of countries across East and Southern Africa, the impala is known for its beauty, speed, and remarkable jumping ability. With a smooth reddish-brown coat, white tummy, and delicate black markings on its tail and legs, impalas spend much of their day grazing on grasses in large groups called herds. With powerful legs and incredible agility, the impala can leap high into the air and cover great distances in a single bound, making it difficult for predators to catch. Male impalas have long, elegant horns which curve backward like finely crafted crowns, while female impalas have no horns. Did you know? An impala can cover more than 10 meters distance, which is about 33 feet, and over 3 meters height, which is about 10 feet high, in a single jump, making it one of Africa's greatest animal athletes.
I have something else exciting that I want to share with you. It is another favorite part of your visit. This time, I want to share an African proverb with you. This proverb comes from Cameroon. Cameroon is a country in West and Central Africa. When you go back home, visit your map and see that part of the African continent that is called the West and the Central area, and you will find the country Cameroon tucked there somewhere. They have a great proverb which says, "You should not beat your chest with someone else's hands." What do you think that means? You should not beat your chest with someone else's hands. Okay, Chimamanda.
You shouldn't act proud if somebody else is the one who is working hard for you.
Lovely. Don't boast because of other people's accomplishments. Don't boast with other people's results. You should only boast about your victories, your accomplishments, and your results. And not in a very arrogant way, by the way. But it teaches us that we should try to accomplish great things because that's the only right we have to announce ourselves to the world. Have you ever met people who say, my uncle is the owner of this company. My uncle is very rich. A lot, exactly. Or you hear them say, my sister is the smartest in Nigeria. She had the greatest result in JAMB. We have a lot of people who do that, right? Yeah. They boast about their relatives. They boast about, I'm friends to the son of the president. That's not your accomplishment. That's not your result. Children, we need to concern ourselves with our own results, our victories, and our accomplishments, right? We should never boast because somebody else in our family did something great or somebody else in our, community did something exceptional. We should equally strive to do exceptional things. Don't go out and say, well, a student in my school had the greatest result in WAEC. That's nice, but what's your result? What's your result in IGSC and all the national and international exams that you write? You need to focus on your exceptionalism, everyone. Right?
Next, what is a food found in Africa that starts with the letter I? Injera. Injera is a soft, round, flat bread that is an important part of everyday meals in Ethiopia and Eritrea. It is traditionally made from teff, a tiny grain that is one of the smallest in the world, but is packed with nutrients that help people grow strong and healthy. Injera looks a little like a large, thin pancake. One side is smooth, while the top is covered with thousands of tiny holes, giving it a soft, spongy texture. These little holes help it soak up delicious sauces, vegetables, and stews. Before it is cooked, the dough is left to rest and ferment for several days. This gives injera its special tangy flavor, which many people enjoy. Did you know? Injera is so important in Ethiopian and Eritrean cuisine that it is often used as both a plate and a spoon at the same time.
Thank you. I enjoyed sharing that proverb with you. Do you have any thoughts for me before I let you go today? Okay.
I really love the story of William.
Okay.
It was very interesting and it taught me to keep going no matter what. If people make fun of you, don't think that, because people are making fun of me, it probably won't work. You should keep going. And this proverb has also taught me that no matter how privileged someone else might be that is in your life, never use that to boast or brag.
Thank you, Chimamanda. That's very profound. Those reflections are very important to share with other children. I also really love the story of William Kwakwamba because it reminds me that children are very powerful. Children have the power to bring about transformation and change in the world around them. Children should not be looked down upon. Children should not be silenced. Children should be encouraged. Children should be given opportunities. Children should be given a voice. And that's what happens when we give children voices and opportunities and, a chance to show their greatness. They can literally transform the world by solving problems for us.
And finally, what is an object native to Africa that starts with the letter I? Isicholo. Isicholo is a special hat worn by Zulu women in South Africa. It is one of the most recognizable symbols of Zulu culture and is often worn during important celebrations and cultural ceremonies. Long ago, the Isicholo was not a hat at all. Instead, Zulu women created beautiful cone-shaped hairstyles by carefully weaving their hair and shaping it with natural materials like grass and red clay. Over time, this unique style inspired the wide-brimmed hat known today as isicholo. Traditionally, the isicholo was worn by married women and respected members of the community. It symbolized dignity, cultural pride, and belonging. The isicholo reminds us that clothing can be more than something we wear. It can also tell stories about our history, identity, and culture. Did you know that the wide, flat shape of the isicholo makes it look like a little graceful umbrella sitting on top of the head?
Thank you for visiting me. I look forward to another time when you will spend time with me on another visit. Bye!
Thank you, Yaa Koko.